Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers offer comfort to more firefighters and victims of recent fires in Taoyuan and Taipei of Taiwan. Tzu Chi volunteers and TIMA members hold a free clinic for the medically deprived Tay Ninh Province in Vietnam. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. Just 1 week following the bowling alley fire incident in Taoyuan, there is news of yet another fire which broke out at a factory that had been operating illegally. It took 8 hours for firefighters to put out the blaze, and the 14 people that were rescued suffered burn and smoke inhalation injuries, 2 of whom were hospitalized for extensive injuries. A fire also broke out on Jilong Road, Section 2 in Taipei City in the early hours of January 27th. Tzu Chi volunteers in both Taoyuan and Taipei mobilized to offer comfort to firefighters and the victims.
An apartment fire which broke out on Jilong Road, Section 2 at 4 a.m. on January 27th resulted in 1 death and 3 injuries. The 46-year-old homeowner was pronounced dead at the scene, while his wife suffered extensive injuries, and their 19-year-old son was trapped on the 5th floor balcony. The victim's 15-year-old daughter sustained bruises and scratches on her legs after jumping from the 5th floor of the building.
The victims all suffered some degree of smoke inhalation injuries, and the mother suffered second-degree burns.
The ignition point was in the family's living room and is suspected to have been triggered by faulty electrical wiring. Tzu Chi volunteers soon mobilized after receiving the news to care for the victims at the hospital.
We've remained by their side and care for them like our own family. We have also brought loving care on behalf of Master Zhenyan and Tzu Chi volunteers worldwide.
Firefighters battled to put out a blaze at this factory in Taoyuan. Tzu Chi volunteers arrived soon after with hot meals for these rescue workers fighting on the front lines. A volunteer arrived from the hospital to obtain more information of the 2 fire victims currently hospitalized.
We needed some more details of the 2 victims who have been hospitalized, so we came to see if there was anyone we could speak to get the information.
As firefighters worked to put out the blaze, volunteers prepared ginger tea and snacks as a show of support.
Everyone is contributing what they can. We all work as a team, and everyone is important. Thank you for all the food you prepared for us. It really boosted and replenished our energy.
After 8 hours, the blaze was finally put out by 12:30 a.m. As the team prepared to go home, the captain decided to stay behind in case the fire rekindled. Tzu Chi volunteers also remained to offer him their full support.
In 2007, Tzu Chi established a program to relocate impoverished residents in Gansu Province to a DaAi village in Jingyuan County. Although the years have passed, the volunteers' love and assistance for the residents have continued. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers organized a large-scale distribution in Jing'an Township, helping more than 2,000 families.
Winter is approaching as the days are getting shorter. I wonder if all of you are doing okay.
At Tzu Chi's winter relief distribution in Jing'an Township, Jingyuan County, residents read a letter from Master Zhenyan.
Although the volunteers came from different places, all of them have a warm smile and a humble demeanor.
In 1998, Tzu Chi started building water cellars in Gansu to alleviate the hardships of local residents. Although more than a decade has passed, the volunteers' love and care for residents has continued. To help residents brave the harsh winter, this year the volunteers arrived with rice, blankets, winter jackets, and daily necessities. Inspired by the volunteers' selfless gestures, many locals donated their love.
One reached into his pocket and donated what he had grabbed. I was surprised and said, "Are you sure you want to donate this much? Isn't it too much for you to give?" He told me not to worry about it.
With their hearts filled with love and warmth, residents happily go home with smiles on their faces. Tzu Chi volunteers also conduct home visitation to check up on residents. Upon arriving at one senior's home, the volunteers quickly help him put on a winter jacket.
谢谢。哦，你看，穿起来好帅，穿起来年轻了，77了，爷爷。成了小伙子了，成小伙子了，小伙子。挺好看，挺好看。
Next, the volunteers arrive at the home of Zhang Jugui, who happily sings along with the volunteers. Although sad to say goodbye, Zhang knows that the volunteers will visit again very soon.
Ahead of the Siyang County winter aid distribution in China, Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at Tzu Chi care recipient Zhang Hongai's home to not only remind him to come to the aid distribution later, but also to help the senior clean up his home a bit before the upcoming Lunar New Year. Here at Zhang Hongai's home in Siyang, bricks line the window instead of glass, and inside, the room is filled with garbage and clutter. Thus, volunteers arrive with a mind to clean.
This area needs to be cleared. Having the lighter here on the bed is dangerous.
Volunteers see that the 2 blankets the senior owns are worn with holes. In clearing away the garbage, volunteers keep and clean what is still usable.
I'm washing the dishes just like as if he was my father.
Standing outside his home looking bashful is Zhang Hongai, who doesn't have any children, and after his wife passed away, hasn't had much love sent his way.
We want to spread our fortunes to those around us, so they can feel loved as well. We can all do our bit to help seniors like him. This way, he and others like him can rest easy in their old age, knowing they are in good hands.
In just a morning's time, the house is no longer cluttered.
How do you like it? We'll come by again to visit you, all right?
Now that this home is filled with love instead of garbage, Zhang Hongai can enjoy the Lunar New Year in happiness and gratitude. Next, we stay in China and join the year-end event in Hunan's Changsha. In previous years, local volunteers relied on the assistance of their counterparts from other provinces in carrying out the event. However, this year they managed on their own and found it to be a great learning experience. Meanwhile, a year-end blessing ceremony also took place in Guangdong's Huizhou City.
Although deep burn marks cover her entire face and body, Chen Xianglan, who is a single mother of 4, is full of smiles, as she's determined not to give in to the hands of fate.
While my life is difficult, however, there are those who face far worse struggles. Tzu Chi has helped us immensely, so we are using our hands to make a difference and contributing what we can to help the less fortunate. I want to become a doctor and save people. I've seen on TV how people have lost their lives due to illness. Doctors do very meaningful work.
At the year-end blessing ceremony in Guangdong's Huizhou City, Tzu Chi care recipient Li Liyan is attending the event with her sister Li Litao, who suffers from mental illness. Thanks to the volunteers' companionship over the past year, Li Litao no longer experiences episodes of aggressive behavior and has learned how to interact with people around her.
Tzu Chi volunteers got in touch with the Disabled Persons Federation and helped to apply for free treatment for a year. Her condition has really improved, and things are looking better for her now.
Tzu Chi volunteers' well wishes and companionship have brought light into the life of these care recipients. At the year-end blessing ceremony in Hunan's Changsha, a long queue is forming right by the reception area. As it turns out, everyone is waiting to pour the contents of their bamboo bank into the urn. Even children are putting their compassion into action. Unlike previous years, where volunteers from Hunan relied on the assistance of their counterparts from other provinces, this year they organized the event solely by themselves. From the planning to the preparation to rehearsals, everyone took on multiple roles to put the event together.
过去2年
The previous 2 years, we relied on outside assistance, but this year we managed to host the event on our own. And since we were limited in number, we were able to relate to the master's hardship during the initial pioneering stage of Tzu Chi.
Although limited in number, volunteers were not defeated in spirit, as they managed to put on performances of the same intensity and magnitude as that of their counterparts in Taiwan.
去年呢，我们的
Last year, we had about 700 to 800 members. We did a calculation today, and as it stands, we currently have 1,200 members. So we are expecting more than 1,200 residents to attend our year-end blessing ceremony.
虽然我们每个
Our
人
forces are weak when we act alone, but when we combine our strength and bring compassion and hearts together, we will be able to help a lot of people.
Receiving the wisdom and blessing red envelopes and lighting up the lamps of the heart, participants pray for a year filled with peace and blessings.
Recently, TIMA volunteers returned to Vietnam to hold a free clinic for the residents of Tay Ninh Province. Over the course of the clinic, volunteers did their best to bring hope and care to hundreds who simply have not been able to seek medical attention until this day.
With their supplies packed, TIMA volunteers arrived a day early to prepare and clean the elementary school that will serve as the venue for tomorrow's free community clinic. On the day of the clinic, volunteers from Ho Chi Minh City set off at 5 in the morning. Arriving at their destination, they find the waiting area already packed with those who have come to seek medical attention.
I'm old and so my body is weak. I can't get out to buy vegetables. It is now my neighbors that look after me. Whatever they give me is what I eat.
You should eat frequent small meals. First vegetables and then the rice. Your blood sugar is too high. You shouldn't eat too many starches.
With volunteers at her side throughout the clinic, the grandmother is touched by the family-like atmosphere she has found here.
I have a child, but he doesn't take care of me. Coming to the clinic today, it has been the volunteers who have looked after me and helped push my wheelchair. Your care really makes me want to cry. I hope all of you stay healthy and can continue to look after others.
Here in Tay Ninh Province, most residents are older and often face the ravages of poverty and advancing age alone. For first-time TIMA doctors, it was a heartbreaking sight.
The conditions they live in are not ideal. Many suffer from serious illness, but have no money to seek medical attention. Tzu Chi has given them so much hope. I hope I will be able to participate in future clinics.
Overall, 45 TIMA and 145 Tzu Chi volunteers work together to bring care to over 581 patients.
Every time I attend these free clinics, I leave happy. Although our responsibilities are tiring, our hearts are filled with a contentment that is hard to describe.
Once again, TIMA is doing its best to bring care and love to those who need it most.
We have more news on the Malaysian peninsula more than a month after the terrible flood. As we reported in earlier broadcasts, the town of Manak Urai in Kelantan suffered extensive damage, and now displaced residents have no choice but to take shelter in tents. We now go into the town to show you just how bad the situation is for flood survivors. In Manak Urai of Malaysia's Kelantan, tents are everywhere more than a month after the worst flooding in 30 years.
We don't have access to electricity, so when the night comes, we can only rely on candles. It is very hot inside the tent and there is a lot of dust everywhere.
Unfortunately, flood survivors don't have other options. Of the town's 490 homes, 142 were completely destroyed, while some 200 were seriously damaged during the flood. Mohammed's family of 12 are cramped inside a tent just over 16.5 square meters in size.
We lost all our valuables to the flood. All that's left is what's inside this tent, which were all donated by others, including the beddings and clothes.
A home builder with some 20 years of experience, Mohammed is trying to build his family a shower.
It's really inconvenient without a place to take a shower. Before, we would go shower at our sister's place, which is 4 to 5 kilometers away.
Though every day Mohammed gets called to make repairs on homes, he wants to tend to his own family first and hasn't made any money since the disaster. In this predominantly Muslim community, residents accept the disaster as a trial from the heavens. Though left with nothing, they don't complain and continue about their life to the best of their ability.
To celebrate La Ba Festival, staff members of the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital and volunteers prepared porridge to share. As this day is also celebrated as the enlightenment of the Buddha, the La Ba porridge also serves as a reminder to uphold the Buddha's teachings.
Delicious aroma spreads throughout the kitchen at the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital, where volunteers and hospital supervisors are putting together a porridge in honor of the La Ba Festival. Deputy Superintendent Xu Rongyuan helps with the making of the La Ba porridge each year. However, this year he was in charge of cutting the jujubes for the first time.
We need to deplete the seed, and after slicing it in half, it needs to be cut into 10 equal pieces. Thankfully, volunteers are here to give us tips. I'm filled with joy as I work today, even though I need to be careful in my cutting to make sure the pieces are sliced evenly.
This La Ba porridge, made by the hospital staff, is composed of 8 natural ingredients: cashews, walnuts, jujube, longyan, red beans, peanuts, red kidney beans, and kumquats. La Ba Festival also coincides with Buddha's Enlightenment Day.
As this is also Buddha's Enlightenment Day, we should be reminded to learn from the Buddha and spread his teachings to all sentient beings. While working, we should be reminded to cure the ailments of all patients with heart, effort, and mind.
After 2 hours on the stove, bowls of steaming hot La Ba porridge are finally ready to be eaten. With plenty to go around, the medical staff also shares it with their patients at the hospital. One tiny bowl of porridge not only warms stomachs, but also serves as spiritual sustenance for the medical staff as they continue to safeguard their patients' health.
The Chinese enjoy a cup of herbal tea, believing it will harmonize their energy and strengthen their organs. However, with constant reports of herbs grown in China laced with residual pesticides and heavy metals, enjoying a cup of Chinese herbal tea or soup might actually cause more harm than good. Sadly, Taiwan's government has yet to establish the proper checks to ensure citizens can enjoy such items safely. We find out more in our reports.
Very few people now brew their Chinese medicine at home, but as the temperature drops, they might prepare some herbal stew for family members. However, if they are not careful, they might do more harm than good.
When buying jujubes, choose those that you like, and the quality is important too. I like the red big ones.
The problem is China's jujubes are often contaminated. Of the 65 different Chinese herbs imported from China inspected by Greenpeace, 70% had residual pesticides, while more than half were found to contain more than 3 kinds of pesticides. Taiwan's Consumers Foundation and Homemakers United Foundation also confirmed similar results.
2 of the 10 we checked had excess heavy metals, though the other 8 passed, but it doesn't mean they are safe. The thing is, our government doesn't even have an acceptable standard on heavy metals.
Due to Taiwan's humid climate, imported food items often grow moldy if improperly stored.
其实一般的中药
The thing is, aflatoxins cannot be removed through brewing and can cause liver damage or worse, cirrhosis or even liver cancer.
Thus, the government asked the Food and Drug Administration and local health bureaus to conduct regular inspections on Chinese medicine.
For 2012, of the 337 items inspected, 330 passed inspection. For 2013, we inspected 300 items, and 296 of them passed. So overall, about 98 to 99% of them are okay.
So, why are the government findings so different from those done by private entities? This is because the government has only set the passing criteria of 91 of the herbs.
Chinese medicine embodies many different categories of items, which citizens only use when they are ill. So the standard of residual pesticide, heavy metals, and toxins is quite different than that of a food item.
However, when it comes to Western medicine, no levels of pesticides or heavy metals are acceptable. It would seem wise for Chinese medicine to follow the same standard, which is why the government is re-evaluating.
Because the herbs are grown in a natural environment and are threatened by pests, pesticides will naturally have to be used. As we go about establishing a standard in Taiwan, we will consider the background of an item and use international standards as reference.
Yes, Chinese herbs have to be grown, but if the earth is contaminated with heavy metals, then you can't grow anything there, because it is bound to be polluted.
Meanwhile, pharmaceuticals have to be responsible for their own products.
We inspect every shipment we receive, which adds to our cost.
The finished products must be absolutely safe, so we will check for residual pesticide and heavy metals.
But can those mom and pop shops do the same? At this Chinese medicine pharmacy, all ingredients are properly packaged and labeled, but there are limitations to what the shop can do.
We can check for added sulfur, mildew, and pests, which can all be visually determined. But small retail shops, just like ours, just can't check for heavy metals and pesticides.
As for this wholesaler who supplies major hospitals in central Taiwan, they also mostly rely on their eyes and nose when conducting inspections. However, they have also steadily increased items that are lab certified safe, even though this means higher costs.
Once, one major institution said to me, only 20 of your items are lab certified, while we buy up to 300 items. It's insignificant if only a fraction of a prescription is deemed safe. I replied, be that as it may, if you don't start somewhere and start supporting the program, we will never make any progress.
With proper checks in place, consumers will no longer have to rely on their gut feelings or pay a premium when shopping for safe Chinese medicine. Eating safely should not be an ideal, but a reality.
To celebrate the upcoming Lunar Chinese New Year, Tzu Chi volunteers from the Kuala Lumpur and Selangor chapter held a blessing ceremony in Malaysia, where care recipients were invited to a vegetarian banquet fit for a king. We will leave you with these images at the end of the show. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.